Welcome to Geometry for AP. If you want to pause the video so you can write the title of this notes, the essential understanding question, which is the sum of the interior angles. Angle measures of a polygon depend on the number of sides the polygon has. And write this vocabulary words over here. And then also take a minute to list all the names of polygons that have 3 through 10 sides and 12 sides. You're going to need to know those. We're going to use those in this unit. So pause the video and write those things down. Okay, so these are the ones that you should know, 3 through 10, and then the 12-sided. I'm not going to worry about making you learn the 11-sided. It's a weird name, and depending on what book you read, it could be something different. All right, so vocabulary. A little bit of vocabulary we need to make sure we know here for this unit also is consecutive vertices. Consecutive vertices are vertices that share the same endpoints of a side. So a consecutive vertices would be like this one and this one are consecutive. Or like this one and this one are consecutive. Okay. A diagonal. A diagonal is a segment that goes from one vertex to another, and they have to be opposite vertices, or they have to be not next to each other. So this would be a diagonal going from here to here, or like from here to here, or like from here to here. So their diagonals are going from one vertex to another, and they cannot be consecutive vertices. Okay. And finally, an interior angle. An interior angle is an angle that is on the inside of the figure. So this is an interior angle here. And then an exterior angle is an angle that's formed by extending a side. And so this is an exterior angle. So this is our exterior. This is our interior angle. All right, make sure you know those problems or those vocabulary words. All right, so some basic concepts. You need to know that an equilateral polygon is a polygon that all sides are congruent. An equal angular polygon is a polygon where all the angles are congruent. And then a regular polygon is a polygon where you have both of the equilateral and the equal angular at the same time. So know how those words work. All right, so for a minute here, let's just do this a little practice. If you want to pause this and draw these pictures out, what is the measure for each exterior angle, and what is the sum of all those angles? So if we have this triangle and we find each exterior angle, this angle right here would be an extension of linear pair. So this is 120, this is 120, and this is 120. And so when I added that up, 3 times 120 was 360 degrees. Okay, so find the exterior angles for all the others. All right, so we got 90 here, 90 here, 90 here, 90 here. So 4 times 90 equals 360. This is 72, this is 72, this is 72, this is 72. These are all linear pairs. And so 5 times 72, that's 360. Well, it looks like the shapes kept changing, but the angles didn't change on the outside, no matter how I change the shape. Which leads us to this first little theorem. Theorem 6.2 says the sum of the exterior angles of a polygon, one at each vertex, is 360. So it's always equal to 360. So the sum of the exterior angles equals 360, no matter what. Well, at least you know what number to make them equal to when you're working on them. All right. So the polygon exterior angle theorem, which we just talked about. So if I had a regular polygon, all the angles would be the same. So if I had a regular polygon, that would be 360 divided by n, and we're going to let n equal the number of sides. And that would be for one exterior angle for a regular polygon. It's 360 divided by n. Okay. All right, so let's look at this. It says, what is the sum of the angles of each polygon? So we know a triangle, the angles is equal to 180. We know that from our last unit. You might know that a quadrilateral is equal to 360 degrees, but you may not know why. Well, here's why. If I take that figure and I put a diagonal in there, how many triangles do I have? I got 2. And so 2 times 180 is equal to 360. If I look over here at the Pentagon, I can draw from one vertex I got three triangles, so 3 times 180 equals 540. And here we have a hexagon, 6 sides. And when I break it into triangles, I got 4 times 180, which is 720 degrees. So the sum of all the angles inside these polygons is equal to the number of triangles that we created. Now, that's great when you have a few triangles, but what about if you have a 35-sided polygon? Drawing a 35-sided polygon is very tough. So we need a formula. And so here's our formula. Our formula is right here. The sum of the measures of the interior angles of a polygon, n-gon, is 180 times, n minus 2 times 180. I like to rewrite it as 180 times n minus 2. This is equal to the sum of the interior angles. Okay? Now the corollary to this, it says if I want a single each interior angle, I take that sum 180 times n minus 2, and I divide by the number of angles that I have, and I have one interior angle measure. And there's your two formulas you need for that. So we've gotten a few formulas here that we need to learn and know. All right, so now it says find the sum of the measures of the interior angles of the indicated convex polygon. So I'm going to leave this one for you to do, and I'm going to run through this one. So the sum of the measure of the interior angles. So that's going to be, we'll use S for sum. Sum is equal to 180 times 14 minus 2. So that's 180 times 12. And so we can do the math there, and we get 2,160 degrees. And so the sum is equal to 2,160 degrees. So you do the 20-sided polygon and have that in your notes. Remember, write this as degrees because these are angles. Okay, so now it says the sum of the measures of the interior angles of a convex polygon is given. So classify the polygon by the number of sides. We got to figure out the number of sides. So this is the sum. So that means I got 1,980 degrees equals 180 times m minus 2. Okay, so I can say 1,980 equals 180 n minus 360. Add 360, add 360. 180 n equals 2,340. Then divide by 180, divide by 180. And so therefore, I get n is equal to 13. Now, there's an easier way. What about if I took that formula to start 1,980 degrees times 180 times n minus 2, and instead of distributing that, I just divided both sides by 180. Well, when I do that, I would get 11 equals n minus 2, add 2 and add 2, 13 is equal to n. So this is a 13-sided polygon. So make sure you do this one, 2,340, and have that in your notes. All right, so the next says find the value of x. So the first thing you want to do is figure out how many sides this polygon has, because you have to find the first step is finding the sum of the interior angles. So in this case here, in this first one, all right, find that sum. That's going to be, sum is going to equal 180 times, oops, what's my number of sides? Be careful, you got to count the angles. Counting the angles is easier here because the sides don't look right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 angles, which means there are 8 sides. 8 minus 2. So there is 1,080 degrees here. So that means I need to add up all of this. So that's x plus 2x plus 143 plus 152 plus 116 plus 125. Oops. 125 plus 140 plus 139 equals 1080. So I want you to finish solving that to get the x. So first step was to find the sum of the angles, which we did that. Second step is set up an equation. All those angles they add equal that sum, and then solve for the equation. Now, this one over here. Now, those were interior angles. What is the sum for the exterior angles of a polygon? Remember, the sum for the exterior is always 360. So that means I'm going to have 2x plus x plus 77 plus 45 plus 40 equals 360, and then I can solve for x. So remember, with the interior, you got to find the sum. For the exterior, you should know it's always 360. Set up an equation making it equal to that number, and then solve that equation. All right, so it says find the measure of an interior angle and an exterior angle of the indicated regular polygon. So it's a regular polygon. That means all sides and all angles are the same. So let's start with the first part. The sum is equal to 180 times 18 minus 2. And remember, it said to find a single angle because it says an interior angle. I divided it by 18. Remember, that's the formula. When I do that, I get that, well, maybe we shouldn't have the word sum there. Maybe we should have one interior angle. When I do that, I get 160 degrees. And remember, the exterior angle is equal to 360 divided by n, which is 18. So 360 divided by 18 gives us the answer 20. So one interior is 20, one exterior is 160. So when you come to class, ask me a question about that because I can show you a fast way to do this. All right, so for the value of n for each regular polygon, regular n-gon, so these are regular polygons, means all sides, all angles. It says each interior angle of a regular n-gon has a measure of 156. That means one angle is equal to 156. So that means 156 equals 180 times m minus 2 all over n. And this is a proportion, so I can cross multiply. So that means I've got 156n equals 180n minus 360. Now if I subtract 180n from each side, I get negative 24n equals negative 360. Divide by negative 24. And I got n is equal to 15. So this is a 15-sided polygon. Now, ask me tomorrow. I can tell you a faster way to do this whole problem that makes your life easier. Right. Each exterior angle of the regular n-gon has a measure of 9 degrees. So this time it says exterior. Remember last time it said interior. So we know exterior angles of regular polygons is the exterior angle is equal to 360 divided by n. So that means 9 degrees is equal to 360 divided by n. Put 0 in, cross multiply, 9n equals 360. N is equal to 40-sided polygon. And there's our practice there. Again, remember, ask me about those questions. All right. Find the number of sides if the sum of the interior angles is 4 times the sum of the exterior angles. So, sum of the interior angles, isn't that a formula? That is 180 times m minus 2. The word is means equals. 4 times means to multiply. What's the sum of the exterior angles? Well, that was a number, remember? 360. Now, you finish solving this problem and tell me how many sides that figure had. All right, so how many sides does a regular polygon have if the sum of the interior angles is 5 times the sum of the exterior angles? So this is one that I want you to practice since I did the work on the other one. All right. And so bring that to class and we'll discuss some of those easier ways to do some things. And have a good night.